Hello, everybody, and welcome to Big Bold You. I'm Jens Johnson. I'm your program host, and this show is dedicated to inspire people, to you, because I am talking to you, to be bigger, playing that bigger. You got to be bolder, and you've got to become the best version of yourselves because we've got to do more in the world. I promise you, we live in a world where there is a war between good and evil, and it's always been that way, and it will always be that way. And the only way evil wins is when good people, and I am talking to you because there are so many phenomenal, incredible millions of people out there that are good, but the only way evil wins is when good people don't do enough. And so one of the things that we're going to do on this show is we are going to challenge you, we're going to inspire you, we're going to bring you a great topic every week, and we're going to have an incredible guest every week. And I'm super, super excited about this week because our show topic today is positivity as a strategy in marriage, business, and beyond. And my special guest for the day is my husband, Dave Johnson. Dave, are you so excited to be here?
I'm this week's incredible guest.
You are.
That was quite an intro. Thank you.
You are,
Yes.
and I'm excited. So here's the thing. I've got a good friend of mine who said she was so excited to watch the show because it was going to be Johnson and Johnson. So isn't that
It's
fun?
a consumer products company.
Exactly.
That's right in my sweet spot.
I know.
Yeah.
And so we want to talk to you a little bit about using positivity as a strategy in your marriage. And we all know that marriage can be difficult at times and it can be a lot of fun at times, right, honey?
It can be both, believe me.
This is kind of risky because I have no idea. He's going to be a loose cannon. I mean, he could say anything about me, and believe me, I have gotten him. I've put a lot of jokes on him in the last 12 years, so it might be payback. But before we jump into that show topic, honey, why don't you share a little bit about yourself? What's your background?
Thank you very much for giving me the floor. I appreciate that. First and foremost, I'm Jen's husband, which I'm known at quite frequently throughout our circles, but father of five, really proud of that, and I've got some roots in Atlanta with my parents there, but from a career standpoint, spent about 30 years in the retail service business, now leading quite a large company here out of North America, but centered in Germany. So I'm on a new adventure career-wise, but live in Texas with my bride of positivity right next to me. And we'll hear more about that here as the show goes on. But this is a live broadcast, I learned.
That's exactly
And
right,
so,
honey.
I have, there's maybe an equalization of power here during this broadcast. It could be
I
quite
had to
interesting.
twist his arm a little bit. I told him, I said, honey, listen, here's the thing, is there are so many people out in the world that are power couples. They want to be power couples. And let's face it, when you are a mom and a wife and you're a husband and a father, there's many hats that you wear, and I think it's very important that we be real. I mean, the reason why I do whatever I do is because I truly do believe that each and every one of us can play bigger and be bolder, and I think it helps when you see people that have gone along, maybe a little bit further along in your journey, to share the good, the bad, and the ugly. And
We're going to share all of that here?
not all of it, honey. Are you crazy?
come
We're
on.
just we're just going to share a little bit of it. So I think it's really important for us to talk a little bit about how we blended our families, and I think that we might have a couple pictures of the whole group. That I love that picture. That picture is actually of all five of our children and Dave and I, and it was just this past Christmas, and that's really what our kids are like right there. All right, now show the next one, Ziggy, because this is when we're on our best behavior. The next one is exact same time, but we were on our best behavior, and this was actually, it was actually our Christmas card, because that's us being really good and looking great. Dave said, I don't want you to show that picture because the tree's coming out of my head.
The tree's coming out of my head, and I like the first one with everyone getting a bit crazy, because that's more indicative of what we're about.
That's right. We're very crazy. But okay, so why don't you share with everybody what it was like blending our families of 3 biological kids from myself, 2 of your own, blending, and what was that like for you?
Wow. This is a subject we're going to start off on right away.
Exactly.
Yeah, blending families for me was one of the most challenging and rewarding things all at the same time that I've ever personally done. I've shared with folks in the workplace as they've asked me kind of what's the most biggest challenge you've ever had, and blending families certainly is right up there. You're working with new marriage. That's got a relationship you've got to figure out, strengths, weaknesses of both parties. You've got the kids coming together. You've got parenting styles coming together. For us, it was a new city, new work for both of us. So tons and tons of change as everything happened. And I tell you, it's a huge growth opportunity in many different ways, very rewarding at the end of the day, and quite emotional from time to time as you see the kids move through their journey into different milestones. So I have to say I wouldn't trade it for anything, but one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my life.
Okay, so I want to give you a little bit more background on Dave, all right? So Dave is a CEO, and you know, one of the things I say all the time is I don't care if you're a CEO, if you're a stay-at-home mom, if you're working 9 to 5, if you're working 9 to 9, we can all play bigger. So one of the things that I will say to Dave all the time is I'm like, honey, you can do more. You can do more. And of course, I'm just very blessed. I've got a master's degree in training and development. I've worked developing people. And so I like to try to develop my husband. And
this is whether her husband wants to be developed
or
not.
Tell him how much you said you would pay me to not coach you.
Jen has had a lot of success, as you viewers know, around coaching and development and working with different people and really making a lot of impact. And it's kind of she's on and then she's on. There's no off. I haven't figured out where the off is. And so we were having a discussion one time, and she was talking about some different accomplishments and how she wanted to provide me some feedback, and then went right into giving me that feedback free of charge because of my relationship here. I have an in. And
whether he wants it or not.
And I proceeded to offer her money not to coach me, which was quite interesting.
That was the big joke for a long time. He said, Jens, I will pay you not to coach me. And I said, I love you too much, honey. I'm just not going to go for that deal. I'm sorry.
But I have to say, in all honesty, she helps me whether I want it or not.
But here's the thing is sometimes, we all need help. We can't succeed alone. And we all have to be pushed out of our comfort zones. And that's what I think when I say be bolder, that's what you got to do. You got to be pushed out of your comfort zone. You got to be a little bit uncomfortable. And I am that way with everybody I know and love. And I love you a lot, honey.
Yeah.
And so when we were talking about what topic, I said, what topic should we discuss today? And Dave is actually the one that came up with positivity as a strategy in Marriage Business Beyond. And why did you think that was so important for us to discuss?
I just think about what you're about. When I think about everything you've accomplished really as an entrepreneur, now a show host, and all the work you do behind the scenes in so many areas helping people, I can tell you I feel really fortunate to be married to that positivity. And I forgot what Brady said on the last show. What did he say?
He said, you have to have a why.
Brainwashed.
Yes, you have to have a why. And my son Brady, who was on the show in June, he said, Mom, I think that we're brainwashing people with positivity.
Yeah, so I could really relate to that because I have that, and sometimes I take that for granted about how great it is to come home in a positive environment no matter what's going on, and looking at the bright side and motoring through obstacles, and to have that as your partner is quite significant. So I can definitely attribute a lot of my own success to that environment of love and positivity. It just does a lot of great things to set your mind right for what you're about to go through, whether it be personally, professionally, and all the obstacles we all face.
Well, and here's the thing that I think is really important is for Dave, you've been in a CEO, you've been an executive in corporate America. I say to him, he's in corporate America and I'm in fun America. But he loves what he does, and he's amazing, and he's incredible at what he does. But I think it's really important because so many times as individuals, we get locked into that transactional mindset. And I think most executives, potentially a lot of men live in that world where it's very transactional. And I, of course, am a lot more relational. And life is, and this is what I've said today so many times, as well as to my kids and everybody that I know and love, is your life is about the relationships that you make and the quality and the depth. And when we first got together, I said, honey, how deep do you want to go? I mean, did you know I was this smart when we got married, honey?
This is a bonus, believe me.
Why did you marry me, honey?
Yeah, I don't know
For
that
the
it was
shallow.
because of all these skills. I think it was really most of your shallow qualities. I was quite happy with all of your shallow qualities and stopping right there.
That's exactly what he said. He said, Jens, I didn't marry you for your intelligence. I married you for your shallow qualities. And that's just being real, right?
Yeah.
That's being 100% real. But here's what I think is important is when we talk about blending the families and blending the kids, and that was definitely something that was very, very challenging. But when we got married, we had 5 kids under the age of 10. Can you imagine that? It was very difficult and very challenging. And because I am a positive person, and I do think I love that Dave actually picked the topic. Positivity really is a strategy. And I can remember, and this is hysterical. So we're married. Our anniversary is in July, so just in a couple of weeks. Our very first anniversary, we were out down in Mexico, and he was in the pool, and he was just relaxed, and he had a smile on his face. And I said, Dave, do you realize that this is the most relaxed and just happy that I've basically seen you in a year? And I said, you've been so stressed. And what did you say, honey?
That's because I was stressed. She said, you just seem so stressed. And I said, well, that would be accurate.
I'm like, honey,
Yeah.
honey. And I can't tell you how
Yeah,
many.
great intuition there.
Yeah, well, I can't tell you how many times it is stressful. I mean, living life is stressful. Being successful in a career is successful. Being a successful entrepreneur is stressful. Being a successful mom, everything is. There's a lot of stress that comes with it, and we would get into these discussions that sometimes would lead into arguments regarding kid topics or what have you. And one of the things I would always say to him is, honey, listen, you're healthy. I'm healthy. Our kids are healthy. We've got a roof over our head. We've got so many things to be grateful for. I just refuse to go down that crazy ride. I'm just not going to do it. And that really kept us on the right track. And why are you laughing, honey?
I mean, it's true. I mean, there's so many stories, and looking back on it, I think one of the best tactics or strategies, I say, is to be positive, to think long term, to keep the big picture in mind, and not get caught up in all the minutia that can derail topics, relationships, and waste a weekend being upset. So it's just not worth it. Life's too short. So I think keeping everything in perspective has to be a takeaway.
Well, what is I'm not going to clear my throat here, but what is you were gonna say a story. I could tell. Do you have a story on the top of your head that you were going to share about the positivity?
I was going to tell you about Brady.
Okay, tell me about Brady.
Yeah, your viewers had a lot of fun with Brady as the last guest. I was in the parking lot of the studio, this new studio I've just experienced, and learned that he confirmed a full-time job offer as a production assistant.
Yay,
So,
Brady!
good for Brady.
Yay, Brady! Because I told all of the viewers that we were going to check in with Brady, my son, and he's. You know what? I think we actually have a picture of Brady and Justin and Dave and I with Dave's parents. So let's look at that. Yes. So Brady is the one with the hat. I believe he wore a hat on the show too.
He did.
He wore, and there he is with the glasses. And Justin is there in the red shirt with us, and then those, not Mike and Diane. But that's so awesome, Brady. We're so excited. We're so proud of you, and I'm really excited and proud because that it was something that. On his show, we were talking about fear and how he was so scared because he was really measuring himself and comparing himself to other people, and you just can't do that. But let's go back to positivity real quickly, because every week what we're going to do on our show is we've got either a question from our viewers or we've got a video. And this time, believe it or not, I was telling people, I said, hey, send in videos about marriage. My husband David's going to be on. What can we do to help you? And nobody wanted to send me a video. So somebody gave me a question, though. Let's look at what that question is. This is our Ask a Life Coach question. And Dave, I want you to help me. It says, how do you get past issues in your marriage in a healthy manner? Now, obviously, that goes right along with positivity, but what are some really tips that you can provide to our viewers that you think is important?
Yeah, great question. I got to think first and foremost, just realizing you got to kind of know yourself and know your strengths and weaknesses, but also blind spots at how you operate within a relationship. And then also know your partner, know what your partner's about. Same thing, strengths, weaknesses, and perhaps their blind spots. And then finally, communication. I think you've got to have a very straightforward communication and a communication with the intent of working through it in a loving way and a caring way. But just being aware of those landmines of how people are different and they've got different points of view and how to adapt and navigate through that in a positive way. I think anyone that's been in any long-term relationship has had a lot of practice on this topic, but communication, I think, is number one.
I think it is very important, and I'm going to share a couple of things because
Oh, no.
because I like to be real. That's the only way I know how to be is real, because it's when we are real with one another that we really can help one another along the journey, play bigger, be bolder, and become the best versions of ourselves. So early on, and I think one of the things that you said spurred this for me, when you said, you have to be aware of yourself, you have to have self-awareness, you also have to know your partner, you have to be aware of them as well. Well, when Dave and I first got married, he would be a little bit, let's just say, uptight, difficult, rigid, type A, hard, that kind of
controlling.
Believe it or not, he has really mellowed out a lot because we made him. He had no choice but to. But it was so funny because one time we were in this argument and he just said, Jens, I will never, ever argue a point unless I know I'm right. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I don't know that that's what I lived up to.
That's what you said. He said, unless I know I'm right. And I know I'm right on this, Jens. I know I'm right on that. And I said, but honey, here's the problem. You always think you're right.
Huh. I think we might have that in common a bit.
And I said, honey, I only argue when I think I'm right. And so therein is really the humor in it, is that most people always think they're right. And it was along this journey, and I will say, when we first got married, having 5 kids under the age of 10, there was no way that I could really take on a big, huge job. And believe me, that was difficult for me because I love to work. I mean, I'm a workaholic. I love what I do, and I do what I love. And so it was challenging at times. And it really wasn't. It's been about the last 5.5 years where I've been working more on a full-time basis. And it was when I started working more on a full-time basis, you've always worked on a full-time basis, that we both individually grew a lot, which made our relationship so much better. And I believe, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I believe I started to see things through a different lens.
There you go.
What do you think, honey? I think you've started to see things with a different lens as well.
Yeah, well, you covered a lot right there, but I think, working full-time is who you are, and very, very busy and lots of energy and going. And when you do that and you attack it in that way, things open up, right? Anytime you put that much effort forth. So I think you're doing what you love and helping others, and I'm doing some really, really interesting work as well.
Well, you love what you're doing too, honey.
I love it, and this stage in my career, so it's fun. It's a ton of fun to see somebody you care about doing what they love.
Because because at the beginning when we first got married, you wanted me to be like attached to you at your hip, didn't
In my
you?
pocket. I'd take you in my pocket on my trips.
I said, honey, I can't do that. I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Yeah.
But it was it's really when both of us individually were following our passion. And I think that makes a big difference. I think so many times when you're married, you want to kind of morph into the same person, but you can't. You have to be individually strong and sound and do the things that are passionate to you. And then together you come together and you have so much more really substance for yourself and for your kids. Don't you agree?
No, I do. I think our marriage got really at the best place when I fully supported what you want to do, who you are, what you want to chase, really supporting your dreams. And funny how when you support those pursuits, how your marriage gets better, your relationships get better, and even your own personal pursuits become more meaningful, and you realize greater success on your own. So I think being individuals first, being strong, and then kind of that couple second with full support of each party is everything.
Okay, so that was one of the questions I was going to ask you is, do you remember any advice that was given to you regarding me when I started working full-time again? I have been very, very blessed. I was in corporate America and I loved it. It was great. I transitioned out of corporate America, was a stay-at-home mom and did contract work, and then really was extremely blessed to just basically fall into the relationship marketing industry, and was involved with, and still am, with an incredible company, Nerium International. Jeff Olson, the owner, is one of the most incredible people. I'm so blessed to know him, as well as all the leadership. But I got in there and I just started to run, because it was the first opportunity that I was able to help thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And I collect people so much to the point where Dave is like, Jens, where do you keep all these people? And what did I say, honey?
Right in your bosom.
That's what I said. I said, I keep them right here in my bosom, honey. And he said, well, they're like
Pretty good place to be.
pretty good place to be. So here I am running like crazy, having all this success because I was helping so many other people and meeting just incredible people. And there was someone along the way, we don't have to share who said it, but what was that advice? Because in my mind, this was really a turning point in our relationship.
Yeah, so Jen's, it was really clear as she entered the relationship marketing business that she had some really special qualities. And these qualities were beginning to be noticed in a very rapid way, just with Nerium International, with the way that her natural ability attracted followers, right? So we were at a founders dinner, and the ownership of the company, I had the pleasure of sitting next to one of the founders and just asked for his advice. I said, hey, what advice do you have? Jens is off to the races, and obviously this business is about to skyrocket. Very, very exciting for us, and what advice do you have? And the owner basically shared with us and said, Dave, we see a lot of couples come through, and there's different approaches between husband and wife, and there are couples that are not supportive of each other, and eventually that either tears them down or tears their business down. And then there's couples that provide unconditional support, and those folks fly. They move really fast and to high heights. And he said, my advice is let her run. Just let her run. Let her do her thing and support her in the background, and everything else will take care of itself. And I got to say, that was some pretty good advice.
And I will say, too, that it's hard because for you being in corporate America, wanting your wife to be home, wanting dinner on the table, which I don't cook anyway, but he would give me credit if I would just go to Costco and have anything on the table.
Yeah.
I would get credit, right?
Yeah.
But that's really kind of in your mind what you wanted. And when I was running, because here's what I know, and Dave probably can talk to this better than anyone else. I mean, I will sit across the table from him at restaurants with tears in my eyes, with tears running down, saying, Dave, I'm just getting emotional thinking about it, but just saying, Dave, I know I'm supposed to do so much more. I know I'm supposed to help so many more people. And he's sitting there thinking, you're crazy, you're insane. But he says, okay, let's do it. But there was a time when I started doing what I was doing and running because I knew, it's that fire in your belly, in your soul, that you weren't just sent to this earth to just do a little bit. You were sent to this earth to do so much. And as I started to run at the very beginning, I would tell people, I think Dave, and he's a pretty big guy, I think he is attached to my back. Because I'm running and he's not letting me go, so I can't go as fast. And then I got him to my waist, and then I had him on my leg. And it was at that founders event that you received that advice. Yeah. And it was from that point forward that you did just let me run. And not only have I experienced so much more success, I have been able to help so many more people in a lot of different industries. And that really was a turning point in our marriage, in our business, but it all stemmed from positivity.
That's it. And also just support, right? It's like you reach a point where it's not about you. It's about, your partner, and support, and just surrender to supporting and loving and being kind, and good things happen. And I think for us, that's the only way to go, just because you are who you are.
Because I wasn't going to stop.
And you are going to do what you're going to do. So I'm a pretty quick study that there's kind of a path of success here, and then there's the other path. And I enjoy what we do and who we are a great deal.
Well, I think another point that we should mention is truly, when we talk about positivity as a strategy, that has to be, it really is a lifestyle. I mean, positivity is a lifestyle. Believe it or not, our minds are wired for negativity. Just like the ground is wired for weeds. If you don't tend your garden, you don't tend your yard, a bunch of weeds are going to take over. It's the exact same thing with your mind. So you've got to be brainwashed with positivity. And that's what we're doing, is brainwashing you for positivity. But I think it's important with business, because you're not going to go straight up. You're going to go up, you're going to go down, you're going to go up, you're going to go down, you're going to go up, you're going to go down. And you talked about the end game early on, even in our marriage. And I know that one of the things that we talked about with 5 kids under the age of 10, Dave would say, okay, there's going to be a time when all 5 kids are going to graduate from high school. They're going to be in college. They're going to be doing their own thing. And, that was an end game for him. And our youngest one just graduated from high school. So you got to keep that end game. And you've got to realize, listen, it's through our temporary defeats, it's the people that we become. It's who you become during those temporary defeats that's really your biggest win. It's that journey. It's not always that accomplishment. In fact, it's not the accomplishment. It's the journey of who you become. It's you getting back up time and time again. And I will say, with our marriage has definitely gone up and down, but every time it's gone up, it's gotten better. I told you, I think this is the best we've ever been.
Wow, that's an endorsement here on live on this live show. Thank you for that.
I told you that last weekend, honey.
Yeah.
Definitely. To sum up, I think 3 things, and I'm going to share this, and then we're going to go to our laughter is the best medicine. But there is another couple that we love so much, Kim and Sandra Yancey, who are the founders and CEOs, Sandra Yancey of eWoman Network. That's another organization, a platform. I like to plug into really awesome, successful, quality platforms. That's just, if you're going to want success, you'll go faster if you're plugged into quality platforms. And one of the things that Kim Yancey shared with me regarding marriage is, he said, just remember the 3 T's. If anything is not going right in your marriage, you need more time together, you need to talk more with one another, and you need to touch one another more.
Wow. Thank you, Kim, for that.
Thank you, Kim Yancey.
That's Kim Yancey.
He got it from somebody else. But
yeah.
now, I want to close all of our shows with a segment that I call Laughter is the Best Medicine. And I will tell you the reason for that is because you have to laugh. If you've got positivity and happiness as your strategy, I promise you everything in your life is going to be better. Nothing lasts forever. Your good times don't last forever. Your bad times don't last forever. And so if you have laughter and humor and happiness and positivity on you at all times, I don't care what you go through, it's going to be more fun. And so I think it's really important that we laugh, not only at one another, but also at ourselves. I'm going to share a couple things that I've done to Dave before we jump into the couple videos that we have. But I think I shared this actually before. I know I've shared it with so many people, but I'm a big prankster. I'm a prankster, and you can tell, and he has, since we've been married 12 years, he really has loosened up a little bit. But when we would first when we first got married, I used to pants him. He was brushing his teeth, and he just would pull his pants up, and he would just.
Real mature.
Yeah, that's what
Very
he'd say.
mature,
He'd say,
Jens.
real mature,
Yeah.
Jens. And I'm laughing because it's hysterical. If you have ever done it, do it. It's so funny. And he would show me his vitamins. I would say, honey, what vitamins do you take? And he would show me, and of course, I'd hit his hand, and the vitamins would fly everywhere. And he would tell me, Jens, I'm an executive. I said, I know, honey, but you got to loosen up. You got to loosen up. And so finally, how long did it take you to pants me back, honey?
At least 6 months.
It was 2 years. It was 2 years. He did
Yeah.
not pants me for 2 years. I don't know what took him so long, but I'm glad he finally did.
But it was fun. I must admit that
You could
that
tell.
is fun when your spouse is completely unaware and then you walk by and pants them. So I would advise this to the viewers at home to try that.
You should
today.
do it. You should
today.
Yeah, you got to do it today. Do it today when they're not expecting it. That's when it's the most fun, when somebody's not expecting it. But we're going to share 2 Laughter is the Best Medicine videos. And so, Ziggy, share the first one, please.
Pull. Oh, it opened. Was that all you were using Leroy for? Whoa!
Okay, so I love that video because it reminds me of myself. I'm that little toddler.
And I'm the dog. Clearly, I'm the dog.
Well, sometimes you need that extra help and that support. And if you can't find a chair, you can't find a little stool, and you need to open the refrigerator and get in, sometimes you got to talk somebody into, kind of kneeling down so you can really, I don't want to say step on top of them, but really step on top of them.
I think they can lift you up.
Exactly.
They can lift you up to what you're trying to grab.
And see, that this is what's so funny is that's what you have to do. Sometimes to get what you want in life, you can't do it by yourself. Success doesn't happen alone, so you got to borrow someone. But what I loved is at the very end when the dog just is like, okay, my purpose has been served, and I'm out of here. And the dog left. And that's sometimes in life what happens. So anything else you want to add on that before we show the next video, which is one of our own?
Yeah, no, let's go to this one. This is, are you going to set up this next one?
I think that we should.
I think you should
Do
too.
you want to set it up or you want me to set it up?
I think you should set it up, but this is our oldest.
Yes, the oldest. Okay,
Oldest,
so
Justin, yeah.
So this is what's so hysterical is when we got together, because positivity is one of my strategies, creating environments of love is one of my strategies, happiness is one of my strategies, and obviously laughter and fun is a strategy of mine. Well, with the 5 kids, my 3 obviously have had me in their life their whole entire life, and so they're all about being silly and being fun. And Dave's oldest, which is our oldest combined, Justin, is a riot. He's hysterical. So you imagine this straight-laced guy, and this is a video of our son down in Mexico, and Dave's trying to reel him in so they can go eat. This is what we get. So, so what? What I love about what I love about that is that's how we are at our house, and Dave has gotten used to it because he has no other choice but to loosen up and have some fun and laugh. And it's been such a blast. It has been a really joy and an honor to see those 5 kids just grow as they have and to do what they've accomplished so far. And they're just at the very beginning, and we're so proud of each and every one of them. And I have to say that not only has it been a joy and an honor, but it has really blown my mind, the growth that that both of us have had through this journey, focusing on positivity, focusing on success, working together and supporting one another, and realizing that typically when we're not having a great day, that it's really both of our faults and not just one. Anything that you'd like to close with, honey?
No, it's been a blast, and all the kids are very different. And we're very different.
Exactly, we are very. Can you tell?
I think we balance each other, and
I mean, did I need this balance? Did I need a balance?
You bring a little crazy, and I bring a little of whatever that is. But I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of our family, all the kids, and what we've done together. And I love you.
I love you, honey. And I am so glad that you tuned into us. I hope that something that we said or shared inspired you to play bigger in your marriage, to have more positivity, fun, laughter, happiness, and to really just know that you can be bolder. But in order to do that, you've got to step out of your comfort zones, because you do need to become the best version of yourself. The world needs us all playing bigger. So until we meet again, be big, be bold, and be you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, and welcome to the Julie Says So Movie Minute, where I give abbreviated reviews of all the biggest new films opening each week. I'll also tell you what the top 5 movies currently out are and hook you up with some free movie passes. We'll wrap everything up with the hottest new trailer of the week, so let's get started with Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I just have one question. When Cap needed help, if I'd asked you, would you have come?
I guess we'll never know. But if you had, you'd have never been caught.
Paul Rudd is back and just as freaking cute as ever. Evangeline Lilly is suited up as the Wasp, and together they plan to save her mom from the quantum realm. Where? Yeah, don't worry about it. There's all kinds of quantum physics jargon that you won't be able to keep up with, but you'll have too much fun to care. There's also a villain named Ghost who's kind of lame, but Michael Pena makes up for it by being so funny. We needed a lighthearted Marvel flick after Infinity War, so I'm giving Ant-Man and the Wasp a B+. And listen, there are 2 scenes in the credits, but the first one is a doozy, so don't even try to go to the bathroom. Also out this week is Whitney, the documentary about Whitney Houston.
You must have known about the drug use.
I never knew there was any addiction.
We thought we knew everything about her life, like her drug addiction and that weird marriage to Bobby Brown, but we didn't. This movie feels like Breaking Bad, The Sopranos, and Sid and Nancy all crammed into one film. And it's about Whitney Houston's actual life. Plus, you get the benefit of hearing her sing during the good years, which will give you goosebumps all over again. So I'm giving Whitney an A+. You can find more reviews and free movie passes on my website, juliesaysso.com. While you're there, take a look at my mommy movie reviews to read about those PG-13 films your kids are begging to see. If you're looking for a flick over the 4th of July holiday, check out my top 5 movies to see now before heading to the theater. Number 5 this week is Whitney, even though it's going to make you feel guilty about laughing at all those SNL sketches about her. Number 4 is Won't You Be My Neighbor, because Mr. Rogers doesn't think you're a horrible human being. Yeah, I bet he didn't laugh at all those Whitney Houston sketches, though. Number 3 is Incredibles 2, because your kids will want to see a movie, and you can't take them to see Deadpool 2. Unless you can take them to see Deadpool 2, then great, because that's my number 2 this week. And why not? Kids love profanity. And number 1 this week is Ant-Man and the Wasp, just so you can see why everybody is giggling about the Wasp costume. Come on, you see it, don't you? Okay, maybe it's better if we turn it upside down. Remember, you never had to pay money for a bad movie again. Just find comprehensive movie reviews and free movie passes on my website. Or follow me on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, and Instagram. And subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find all of those links and more on my website at juliesaysso.com. And the hottest trailer this week is for The Predator because, yeah, they went ahead and made another one. But now the predators have evolved and taken all the best DNA from other species, so yeah, they're gonna kill us all. Probably a good thing too. The Predator isn't expected to be in theaters until September 14th, but when it does, you'll probably find free passes to see it at juliesaysso.com. I'm Julie Fisk, and that's your Movie Minute.
Do you know what my job description is? I'm in acquisitions. I look up and I catch what falls out of the sky.
What's on the ship?
Tell me about the mission. Did you see anything unusual?
It's above our pay grade.
Do I get a cookie now?
Look, I get it. Something went down in Mexico. Nobody wants any witnesses. We need to know if you and your men pose a threat.
We're Rangers.
Hey, Baxley, if your mom's vagina were a video game, it'd be rated E for everyone.
Isn't posing a threat kind of the fucking point?
Predators just don't sit around making hats out of rib cages. They conquered space. But that's not what's on the horizon.
Should I be worried?
Riley. I think you know what is on the ship. The ultimate predators.
Light him up! We may die. We're still here. So come and get us, motherfucker.